Hello, it's Joe, and welcome to Comic Book Day number 2, the show where I go through and show you the comics I'm buying each week, and I'll just talk about comics in general, really. Let's start with, I got a bunch of new comics this week only, no old ones. Starting with The Flash, number 21. This is the second part of The Button. It's the story where they are going to kind of bring in the Watchmen universe to the main DC universe. And as you can see, this is a holographic cover. It actually works really well on camera. Not so well in real life. Yeah, it kind of changes. Sorry if you're getting a little bit of a spoiler there. But, I don't know. These holographic covers are kind of cool. I mean, especially when they work like that, and the back of them has this 3D. This is actually a little cooler almost, because Nightwing is really like sticking out of that DVD case there. The problem with these covers are they cost more money. This one costs $3.99, whereas the normal issues would only cost $2.99. This was the only cover that was available at the store that I was at. I was at Grand Slam in Greeley. I guess might as well advertise that. I just said something bad about them, though. But no, I'm sure it wasn't their fault that they had only this issue. I'm sure they didn't order it. They just ended up only getting this. So, I mean, I guess that's just how it works out. But I'd rather DC made this the special issue and not the main cover issue, because it costs $1 more each issue then. Batman had a I don't know, kind of transforming holographic cover like that, but I didn't end up buying it. This is Captain America number 16. Well, Steve Rogers' Captain America. This is a Secret Empire tie-in. I'm not caught up still on the main Steve Rogers Captain America story, but I know a lot of it. I read Secret Empire last week. I actually enjoyed it a lot, and so I want to read this, and now that it's tied in. This is Rough Riders, Riders on the Storm, number 2. This is the second volume of Rough Riders. It's a comic where it's kind of like the Justice League made up of Teddy Roosevelt, Thomas Edison, Annie Oakley. We have Harry Houdini over here. This is Jack Johnson, I think. I mean, I know that's a singer's name, but I'm pretty sure that's what his name is. He's an old boxer. I can't remember what his whole story was. I had never heard of him before this comic. And I'm pretty sure that I gotta remember his name is Monk something. He wasn't in the first one very much. He's like an old criminal. I know a lot about different old mobsters and stuff. I had never heard of this guy. But I really like this comic a lot. It's really crazy, and it's just like Teddy Roosevelt working for these super top secret missions, and he recruits all these different people. None of them really like each other in the beginning, and they're all fighting. This one seems like it's going to be a little crazier right from the beginning, at least. The last one got really crazy, ended up there was like an alien invasion of some sort, kind of. And so, yeah, I'm interested to see where this is going to go. This is another Rough Riders comic. It's Rough Riders Nation. It's just a one-shot. This actually came out, I think, several months ago, but this is the first time I had found it at all, just this week, so I was really excited. This is just kind of a little, like, glimpse into different decades worth of Rough Riders. The original comic starts in, after the 1910s at least. I don't remember what year it starts in specifically, but so this goes through each decade and shows the different Rough Riders teams. Sorry. here you've got the original Rough Riders team from the 1910s. They don't really offer any extra stuff other than this picture. But each decade kind of has a little note written about it over here. Looks like you've got Babe Ruth. Who? Is that Charlie Chaplin? Oh, it's Lucky Luciano. Yeah, I knew he looked familiar. I should have figured it'd be another criminal guy. I haven't read all these. Oh, looks like Charlie Chaplin is actually, though, in this down here. There's a couple really funny ones that I saw flipping through. I want to find more obvious. Oh, there you got Marilyn Monroe in the 1960s. Marilyn Monroe, Elvis, Martin Luther King Jr., and, yeah, Mickey Mantle. I wondered if it'd be Joe DiMaggio since you had Marilyn Monroe. Got Malcolm X in the 1960s, and Bobby Kennedy, it looks like. Yep, Bobby Kennedy. Remember, yeah. The 80s is a funny one. We've got Mike Tyson and Tina Turner right there. I don't even know who else is going to be. Steve Jobs. So yeah, this is going to be a funny one to see who's on these different teams, even though there's not a whole lot of story with it at all. This is XMen Blue #2. It's the story of, so in Marvel, the X-Men have gotten so like messed up, and so many people have turned evil or turned away from like the path they started on, at least. So eventually Beast traveled back in time and found the younger original X-Men team, made up of Cyclops, Jean Grey, Beast, Iceman, and Angel. So he brought them to the future. I guess they were supposed to kind of talk to their future selves or something. I don't know why he brought them to the future. I didn't read all of that. I read a little bit of that, but I didn't really know what was going on until later on, once it was like 10 issues in. So now this is kind of like a new launch for it. And, yeah, I don't know. I liked it a lot, the first issue at least. It's kind of interesting to see, you know, how this young team functions in a modern world. And they talk a lot about, you know, the problems that have gone through with the X-Men, but they're trying to relaunch X-Men kind of entirely at Marvel right now. So I'm hoping that I can find an X-Men title to read and stay on with. I haven't really read X-Men very regularly for a really long time. Pretty much since I started reading comics. That was the only time that I read Astonishing X-Men, written by Joss Whedon. This is XMen Gold #2. This is the second kind of relaunch of the X-Men team, I guess. This is like the normal versions, since those XMen Blue team is all the past young selves. This is the X-Men as they've all grown up. I mean, it has future Old Man Logan on the team. They're led by Kitty Pryde, I'm pretty sure. I didn't actually read X-Men Gold #1 because the day after I bought it, a big story came out that the artist had snuck in some like anti-Christian and anti-Jewish stuff into a couple frames of the comic. And so then all the issues were pulled off the shelves. I didn't really want to read that one that, you know, has the bad stuff in there. And so I'm waiting for a reprint of that to come out. But I'm just going to move on to #2 because why wait? This is Kill or Be Killed, number 8. This is by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. They have, I can't remember how many comics it is, but they have a deal at Image to make like, I think it was like 4 or 5 different new like kind of limited series for them. This is the second one of those. I really liked the first one. It was called The Fade Out. This one has been really good also. It seems like it's going to get more issues than The Fade Out even, so I'm excited to see how it's going to go. This has some really good artwork too. So there you can see some of the artwork. Yeah, I really liked how Sean Phillips draws. Especially, you know, they're always generally dealing with like kind of just humans. All these at least have been so far. And drawing people can sometimes be hard. You want to make them realistic, and sometimes too realistic can be kind of weird, I think, too, when I've read things. So I like this a lot. They also do these kind of cool, you know, kind of page setups like this. It's a little different than a lot of other comics. And this is Batman and the Shadow #1, or Batman the Shadow. I don't know. I'm really excited to read this. I like the Shadow a lot, and he inspired Batman originally, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of story they have going. I don't know if they've ever met up before in the comics. Probably, because Batman's met up with everyone. Even like Predator and aliens from that movie Alien. So it'll be really good to see this story. Alright, so that's been number 2. Make sure to come back next Friday for another episode. And make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. And also, if you got any good titles to read that I should pick up, write in and let me know. I'm always looking for new comics to read, as long as they're, you know, really good ones. Alright, thanks, bye.